Have you been a rebel or a pleaser for most of your life and you are finally ready to get done with that?
If you haven't met us, I'm Sally, and this is my big sister Dana. And we grew up in the same family, but we took on different roles. I became the pleaser,
And I was definitely the rebel.
and pleasing showed up for me in that, as a kid, I just always did what was expected of me, and I played that role really well. But it followed me into adulthood and has continued to follow me at decade after decade. But I've broken that, or I'm breaking that. It's always a work in progress. But I think it showed up early on in my 20s when I didn't even. Somehow I wasn't the one who chose my career. I became an English teacher, and Dana, I don't even know if you remember this part of my life that well, what I was going
I,
through.
you know what? I remember that
Yeah.
you were having you had moved to Birmingham and you were
Yeah.
having fainting spells.
Yes, I was having panic attacks, and that had never happened to me before, but I think that what happened was I moved to a new place. I just got married. I started a new profession. I was 23, and I was so overwhelmed and not living my authentic life. I wasn't making the choices really for me in a lot of ways, and I think my body was just rebelling against it, rebelling against the pleaser. Um,
Oh yeah.
and and so I just remember being thrown into the in the English classroom as a teacher. I remember feeling deep down like I wasn't in the right place for me, but I didn't even think I was allowed to acknowledge that. And do you think that's why my body was doing what it was doing?
Oh, yes, and mine was too, and I think when we're not living authentically, because that's really the point around this as we
Yeah.
get to be over 50, that being authentic is the way to get yourself moving forward. When you're living somebody else's life, like me, I was like this rebel where I wanted to go out and work in the film business and do all this different things, which is absolutely fine, but I didn't really have that understanding or support, right? That was not our family business, so it wasn't really understood. And so I kinda got this thing even earlier than that, I'm gonna do it my way it was that big sister thing, I don't know what it was, but I really was pushing against a lot and trying to prove myself. But because I wasn't really living authentically, right? Because I was pushing against something else, right? I had some body issues too. I had some stomach issues. I had things that weren't really working in my body. And I guess we're learning together that our body takes the score, as the book
Yeah.
says.
Well, absolutely, and I think what you're saying is that you were going forward in what you really wanted to do, but you didn't think that that was really what you were supposed to do based on the people around you. And
Yeah.
so we were actually playing like opposite sides of the same coin. And in either case, we weren't really being authentic to ourselves. We weren't really
Yeah.
lined up with saying, what do I want and how do I move forward? And I think that's true for a lot of people in their 20s and 30s and 40s. But like you said, you get to a certain point and it's like, enough is enough already. And I can't keep doing this.
'Cause it's all about somebody else. It's about, on some level, either proving yourself to somebody else, pleasing somebody else, but it's not about you, and that's where the trouble starts. When it's not about you and you're trying to somehow get a reaction, it's the same thing. You're a pleaser, you're a rebel, whatever, it doesn't even matter, but you're not
Yeah.
you, and that is where the magic and the power comes.
Right, and I really do think it is playing roles in a lot of ways. I think part of me being the pleaser was because you were the rebel. So I was going to do exactly the opposite, and I was gonna do everything and make everybody around me happy with me, thinking that that would make me feel fulfilled. But what you find out over time, and you play it out for years and years, is you realize it never does the trick. Yeah, it makes everyone around you happy with you, but there's something inside just kinda gnawing at you, and, like I said, you get to a point and you think, all right, it's time for me to choose me.
But why is it so important to know if you're doing this after 50?
I think that you realize that you've internalized everybody else's expectations of you, and so that's what's driving you. Yet you're going, okay, I am ready to do something new. Like maybe you want to start an online business, or you want to go back to school. Maybe you want to become a speaker. maybe you have some just big dream inside of you, and that voice, that internalized, seeking authority outside of yourself just stops you so that you can't move forward. Is that what you
And
found?
those Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, and those
yeah,
patterns and that seeking, it's really that seeking
yeah,
outside of me to get
yeah,
permission,
yeah,
to, get approval, all of that. That doesn't just go away because 'cause you're 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 or whatever you are. It doesn't. This is our opportunity, and why we wanna talk about it today is to look at it and say, "Wait, am I engaging in this? Is this still working for me?" When I please people, does it get me someplace? Often it just gets us comfort. Does it
yeah,
when I'm rebelling, does it make me righteous? Which gives us a certain kind of familiar comfort is anger. Like,
right.
what is any of that about? Is it really necessary? And more to the point, is it getting you where you wanna go?
So, what do we do with that? I think the first step, what we have to do is we have to do some investigating. We can't just like run on autopilot and expect that all at once I'm going to feel this shift and be able to jump into my life authentically. So, we have to really, go, okay, enough is enough. And I do think that at a certain age, we're more likely to draw that line in the sand and say something's got to change because we
Oh my gosh,
realize it's not working. Yeah.
because 'cause we're tired.
Right. And we don't want to look back, 10 more years from now and or 20 more years from now and go, God, I still was living my life for somebody else. And,
Yeah.
now is our time to jump in and like I said, do that investigating and say, I'm tired of feeling stuck and frustrated. What's going on? Whose voice is in my head or what pattern am I, going through habitually that I want to change? Like what is that that's going on? Because only these patterns are going to come when we really acknowledge them. We question, who am I trying to please? Who is it at
Mhm.
this point? And maybe it's somebody from when you were 7 and
Oh,
you're just
it's
carrying that with you.
It's
Yeah.
definitely somebody from when you're 7. It
Yeah.
all starts so early, and we just drag it, like a cart and just pick up more debris along the way, more people to please, more people to rebel against. It just once it starts and we think that somehow that behavior is gonna keep us safe, that
Mhm.
it's gonna, somehow pleasing is gonna keep us safe,
And
which
it
makes a lot
does.
of sense. Yeah,
And
it
it
does.
does. It does keep us
Yeah.
safe, but it doesn't keep us striving forward in the way that now, if we haven't yet, we really want to. We feeling an urgent need to. And so it's really important that we get clear about what it is that has been running us. What is that voice? Who are we hearing in our head? And then we want to disrupt the pattern. That
Okay,
means we
say
have
wait,
to
stop a
change
second.
something.
Let's say that again, because that's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah. That we have
Disrupting
to
the pattern.
yeah. Because unless we do something differently, excuse me, my English teacher's coming out, the adverb. Unless we do something differently, we won't change. So, are you laughing at me?
Yeah, that was good.
Um,
Listen,
any
wait, hold on. In our family, I'm surrounded by the grammar police. Are you kidding me?
Um, well, so, okay, grammar aside, how do we disrupt this pattern? What do we do? What do we do so that we don't just continue down this same path of, being the pleaser, being the rebel, and not living authentically?
Well, we kinda give up the fight. For
Yeah.
me, it's like giving up that fight of having to prove myself or to rebel against something or to be, so deeply inside wanting to be approved of, wanting somebody to be like, "Oh, yeah, you're great," instead of going, "No, I'm already great. I'm already great. I'm already where I need to be. I don't need anybody else to either push up against or to prove anything to." And here's the deal,
Yeah.
and I know I mean, tell for you, and then let's talk about how we can use disrupting the pattern as a really useful and effective practice.
Well, I think that it's about laying down new wiring. I really love, neuro pathways and talking about neuroscience and all of that, sciencey thing. But it is the truth that right now we have these old patterns that are wired in our brain that we can just go like that. It's just so quick. And we go down that old path of pleasing for me. And so we
Yeah.
have to gradually start to ask ourselves another question. How can I listen to me? What is it that I truly want? How do I, deem myself, I'm the boss of me, nobody else? And that's not to be selfish or anything like that. It's just to say, I am going to give my most to this world when I am my most authentic me, because then I'm lined up with my God given gifts and talents.
When we make it our job to approve of ourselves, the side effect is that our life flows and grows. Like things
Yeah.
get easier. It just happens because we're working from who we really are. And that's why it's super important after 50 to is that Pip?
Do you hear my cat? Pip just walked in and meowing. Hey, Pip.
Pip wants to know.
Yeah.
It's super important to really know what's going on after 50. It's super important to approve of yourself so that your life gets in motion again because we don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't.
Exactly.
I mean,
There's a
you start to realize time is limited. So
there's a
we got to,
urgency. There's a
there's an
urgency now.
urgency. And if we keep looking
Yeah.
to the outside to make us better, like that's
Yeah.
that quick fix. When
Yeah.
we actually go into the inside and take ownership and prove of ourselves, then our life just starts to unfold and
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be fixed. It feels good. We feel good. It's pretty
Yeah.
great.
So what we want to do is encourage you to disrupt the pattern, as we mentioned. So how do you do that? What do you start with?
Well, let's say, for instance, if you're a pleaser. So
Yeah.
if you're pleasing and you're in that situation, and we all know what that is, and I'm a pleaser too, by the way. I mean, we're
Yeah.
rebel. I can do all the above.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that you're in that situation where somebody says something, and you're like, "Oh, did I just say the wrong thing, or what?" And you want to
Mhm.
make it better. It's like we got to
Yeah.
make everybody
We
okay.
wanna go fix everything. Oh my gosh, can't we
Yeah,
classically go into, how do we make sure everybody's okay? Go through the whole routine in our head of what did I do? What did I say? And how do I make it better? So that's what we wanna catch, right?
we want to catch it and identify it and be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I'm doing it. I'm being a pleaser right now." And that's
yeah,
if that's all you can do in the next week from this, your takeaway from this is, "Oh, I identified 10 times when I was pleasing. Good job."
yeah. Because the awareness is huge. I mean, if when we're not on autopilot and we're aware that we're doing it, that's the first huge step to moving forward.
Yeah, we same with the rebel when you're fighting
I was gonna
against or
say.
you're coming in with your dukes
Yeah,
up or whatever. It's like
yeah,
maybe put them down and go,
yeah.
"Huh, maybe I could just be here, that I don't have to get so defensive all the time. I don't have to push against. I don't have to prove something."
When we're used to doing either one, we're going to feel uncomfortable when we don't do it. When we consciously sit there and whether you stand, sit on your hands or you bite your lip or whatever you do, and you just feel what it feels like not to do it, it's going to feel really uncomfortable because we're so used to doing it. It's so familiar to us.
But you're saying that like that's an easy thing. I'm
Oh, it's
telling you,
not an easy thing.
you first time you go into this, and it could happen today. It could
Yeah.
happen right after you listen to this. That something's going to happen, and you recognize I got to fix this. I got to please this. This person's not happy with me. Whatever it is, and boy, it comes up like a volcano to be like I got to fix this, right? And we can feel it. Talk about our body,
Mhm. Yeah.
keeping the score, giving us a
Where do you
message.
feel it? Where do you usually feel
Oh,
it? Do you
I
feel
feel
it
it
you
usually in
put
my
it here?
stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. My solar
Or do you feel it
plexus.
you
Where do
put
you
your
feel
hand
it?
right here, you feel it in your
Yeah,
heart?
in my heart too, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. A
Where do
lot
you
of times
feel
I'll
it?
feel it like a pit in my stomach, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you just,
And it'll just
oh,
feel like I'll do anything. Yeah,
talk about like you want to jump out of your skin. And that, if you can do that, try that. The more you do it, you build a muscle so that you're just not running into the fire every time. And you
yeah.
start to go, okay, I'm a separate individual in this situation. I don't need to fix it all the time.
But after that, really start questioning or at the same time even, what do I truly want from this situation? If I weren't in there, if I don't, I'm the person that could walk into a room and try to assess what everybody else needs and who they need me to be. What if I walked into the room and I was saying, what do I want from this situation? And what do I
Yeah.
have to bring authentically here instead of just pleasing and trying to make everybody okay? But maybe, I'll have so much more to give if I'm coming from a place of what are my strengths? What are my talents? What can I give in this situation authentically instead of just trying to please everyone?
Yeah, and that
That's a
doesn't mean we
shift.
can't be that doesn't mean we can't be interested in other people,
Sure.
be engaged, connected,
Mhm.
but from a real place.
Yeah. And listen,
And
there's
that
nothing yeah, there's nothing more, um, beneficial to anyone than when we're in that authentic place.
especially when we're over 50. Mm, real is
Yeah,
the way. It's just the way, and that's what we wanna talk about today because it's the foundation. It's the only way. It's the only way to move forward in a way that was really gonna light you up inside and make you feel so alive and here and present and like, "Oh my gosh, isn't this the greatest place to be?" All right,
yeah.
so thank you for joining us today. Please subscribe, like, do all the things. Come back next Tuesday and let us know in the comments, what are the challenges that are coming up for you around
Yeah,
choosing not to please or not to rebel?
absolutely. See you next time.